Hi there, friends. Today, we're diving into the world of bike racks designed to carry those heavier e-bikes. Do you have, or did you just get maybe one of those e-bikes with the fat tires? And now you need a bike rack to carry those bikes on your vehicle to the trailhead? But you don't want to break the bank? And I've been scouring Amazon for options, and today we're going to be unboxing and discussing the young 200-pound high-capacity bike rack hitch mount platform. Follow along and I'll tell you the truth about this bike carrier. I hopefully will answer the question, is this bike rack worth it at its lower and more affordable price point? Let's jump in and find out. All right, here it is. We have the box as it's arrived from Amazon, and it says heavy, and let me tell you, it definitely is heavy. I think that's a good sign of something that's pretty sturdy and of good enough for some high capacity bikes. So let's get this on the counter and get it cracked open and see what's inside the box. Okay. Looks like it's packaged pretty good. Well, looks like it might have taken a spill right there a little bit, but not too bad. It's not damaged all the way through. We have some instructions. Set those aside for a moment. Okay, looks like it's packaged pretty well. So here we have it, I guess. This is the young, high-capacity 2-bike, up to 200-pound bike rack, hitch mount. So let's take a peek at the instructions now and see what we have to do to assemble it. Doesn't look like it's going to be too tough. So let's take a look and see what we have to do. Looks like we need some tools. We need a adjustable wrench, a 17 millimeter, a 24 millimeter wrench, and then a couple of hexagon spanner wrenches. All right, let's jump in and get this thing assembled. Okay, from assembly perspective already, we already have these two parts here installed. It's pretty simple. The two bolts, two hex bolts go in from the back side, then you get a washer, a lock washer, and then the knob go on each one of these, and then the carriage bolt goes in on this side. You'll see that it's chamfered, and then the locking nut goes on this side. Very similar here. The carriage bolt goes in here, locking nut on the back side. The hex nut goes on the back side, lock washer, and then lock washer, and then knob. So now we are at the step of installing the hitch onto the bike rack mount itself. Pretty straightforward as well. Okay, looks like they go on there like that. I would have thought like that. But these are down low, so are they the exact same? So we want one to go like this and one to go like that. All right, that fixed it. Well, we have it all assembled, finally. It didn't take too long. It was maybe about 20 minutes. Needed a extra tool or two that I didn't know that I needed. Like I needed to get a big C-clamp because this part right here was bowed out a little bit, so I couldn't get those on, so I had to clamp that down to get that nice right there. But other than that, here it is in all of its glory. This bolt will go in there like that, but I have some better stabilizing bolts that I'm going to use that I've always put on my hitches to keep things from rattling. And but that's how it looks, just like that. So here's how it goes together. Those little hex bolts go in there, and when you want to move it up and down, you slide it through like that, and pull it back through, and it gets tightened up in that little spot there. Looks like it's pretty sturdy. The next thing to do is to put it on the car and get it adjusted for the bikes and get these things where I want them permanently, so I don't have to keep moving them around. And then get the bikes on there and see how it fits, and then take it for a ride. This thing has some weight to it. All right, let's get it set up and put it in the hitch here. Get that big pin and then the cotter pin to go in there like that. So this is upright. And we're just going to lift it on up in there. Okay, the next thing is I'm gonna try and put the first bike on in the back here and see if we can adjust where the tire brackets are supposed to go on it. That'll give me an idea where then the last bike goes. So the first thing I did was I removed the battery from the bike, just trying to eliminate a little bit of the weight that was with that, so I can lift it up and put it on there. Grabbing the rear brake, just easing it up on there like this. And then I can grab the rear, both hands, slide it up in there. Obviously we're off a little bit here, so now I can adjust it. Think a little bit this way and then a little bit that way. Grab the rear brake, lift it up, put the front tire in, and then lift the back end up. By the way, these are Velotric Discover 1 bikes. If you're interested in looking at these bikes, I did a couple of videos on those. I'll put a link in the comments, and I'll put a link up above. Now, I'm gonna bring this bracket up. Tighten it in place. And then let's get ready to put these on. Oh, since these are step-through bikes, I'm gonna need the bar that goes between the seat post and the stem that I already have for my other bike rack. So I can put that on here, and then these brackets will come back down and tighten over the top of that step bar. So here we go. We got their Hollywood racks, and they're really nice. These, the way they work is that they come open like this. One goes around the seat post, and then one goes around the stem, and then they just self-tighten so that you can then hang these on a bike rack, or you can have a bracket like that come down and tighten up against it. Okay, now that I got that on there, this comes up to the bottom of the seat there on the seat stem, and then on the fork stem over here, it comes up to the bottom over there. Then this goes right on top like this. And comes down on there, tightens it down. I like the way I have the bikes on here just offset like that so the handlebars aren't bumping into each other. It works out really good. All right, let's get this other one on. In the future, I think the better way to set this up would be to fully get that bike on there with the stem bar across there and set up, and then put this bike, lift this up, put the bracket on, and then put this bike on there. I think that would be a better way to go. Okay, now that I have it on there, I can see that these work differently on this style of bike rack. Instead, on the hangy type bike rack, these would go up against the bottom of the handlebar stem and the bottom of the seat. But since we're pulling down on it, it goes down to the bottom. So now I'm curious to make sure that it's not pressing against any paint areas. All this is a really nice hard plastic of some sort. I still don't want it rubbing for long periods of time. So it happens to be hitting plastic on plastic there, and that happens to be hitting kind of nowhere, so that's good. Same thing over here, plastic, and then that one's riding kind of on the bottom of the seat stem. Okay, well that's good. All right, I think those feel really sturdy in there. I think the last thing is just to put these little final adapters in there and make sure these don't come out. See how good these straps are. All right. Well, we have them all put on there, okay. Kind of give you a look what this looks like down here. I think in the future, next time, I'm gonna mount this bike, since I have the room, closer to this side, so it's closer to that bracket there in the center, and not putting more weight to the outside of this bracket. I don't think it's gonna be any problem with the size of these bikes, but I do think that it would be better to have it closer to the main part of the crossbar there. So next time I'll be doing that. That's a lesson learned here. I think the other lesson learned is I'll be taking these off, and I am going to go ahead and tighten that down and put a strap over the whole thing just as a last precaution. But just wanted to show you how this looks all connected up in there. It's very secure. The whole thing seems to be very tidy. I don't hear any squeaks or rattles in any way. Give a look from this side. Everything's nice and straight and level. You can see how far away it rides from the car. So lots of room. At some point, I'll try and take that down, but I don't think I'm going to be doing that with bikes on it. I don't think it's meant to do that, but I do think you can do it with just the hitch on it by itself with no bikes. So I'll show some views of that as well. So I think the next step is to take it for a test drive on the road. All right, went and put these straps on, just wrapped it around, went around the post here and pulled it tight against this, just kind of give it a loop around there as a safety precaution. Did the same thing on that side over there. After really looking at this super close to make sure there's nothing rubbing or anything like that, I do notice I don't like the way that is rubbing, potentially rubbing on my seat right there. So I might put something in between there to make sure that that doesn't rub a hole in my seat. Same thing exactly right here. It's the only spot I can see that's really doing any rubbing at all. Everything else seems to be like really in a good place, not up against paint or anything funky like that. I think it looks like it's going to be on there pretty darn secure. Doesn't wobble. I have to push it pretty hard to get it to actually wobble or shift back and forth. I don't hear any creaking, but I will also put another bracket, stabilizer bracket, right there on that hitch where the hitch connects, which just has some U-bolts. I'll show you. Basically, it's on my old hitch over here like this. That goes on the bottom, secures up to the top. I'll also use this in the end because it's locking and I can lock the bikes on there. And so this just screws, tightens this against the bottom of the class 3 hitch on the car and tightens it up super tight so there's just no wobble at all. Makes it super great. And then I will put some sort of cable lock over the entire thing here so that it locks it all to the car in some way. So I'll have the hitch locked, then I'll have the cable lock over the bikes. I suppose if they came by with tools they could start dismantling it, but I think that's what locks do, is just keep honest people honest. All right, I wanted to see how it all looked together, so I have my big cable lock. So I have just this master cable lock called a cinch lock, and basically just a big long super thick cable. I think that's probably 3/8 or half, I don't remember which. I'll put a link in the description for where I got this, but basically it goes in there like that, goes around everything, and you tighten it down and it cinches down on it tight. Again, I don't think any lock is perfect unless you spend a lot of money on them. Wow, some serious thunder going on out there. All right, not a good day to be taking bikes for a bike ride. All right, we're gonna tighten, put this on there and see how I might attach it to the, wow, what is going on? Holy smokes. Oh, that turns out to be quite the storm we're having out there. Garbage cans flying around. Nothing too sophisticated here, so I just wrapped it around the bikes like this, wrapped it around the bracket. I mean, again, if somebody really tried hard, I suppose you could get it off there, but I just wanted to keep it simple for this test right now. But just got the lock on there like that, lock it with the key, and now we've got the bikes ready for a long trip if you wanted to stop at a restaurant. All right, here we go on our inaugural first run with the bikes. Got a couple of GoPros set up back there. Okay, I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. I think I really like the bike rack so far, just based on what we have tested out so far. Whew, it is a windy day. Anyway, I think it's going to be a good bike rack. I need to find a way to hang it up on the wall so that it has a nice place to store it, like my other bike rack is, and keep it out of the way when I'm not using it. But so far so good. I really like the way the bike rack works and operates, and looking forward to testing it out on longer runs. So if you like this video, I appreciate you giving it a like, and if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Well, and here's a couple of views I promised. Make sure we captured those. What it looks like just sitting on the car by itself. And the whole thing should just fold down like that, so you can still open up the hatch. So there you go, the hatch opens up, no problem. The other view. All right, there we go. So now we have all the views of how it can go on there. But of course, that hatch will not be able to be closed now until I take the whole thing off or put it back down.